Now it's okay.
Start for MC Sports. It's me, Zach McAdoo. Some of you know me from Flurry Sports, Trader Sports, and all that. But we got a new venture here. We have my co-host, other way, there, Kevin Capstick. That's the C part of it. It's not just for my two letters. But yeah, someone had the bright idea of doing this. So Kevin, why don't you tell folks a little bit about yourself?
So I'm currently would say friends with Zach McAdoo if I had to say that myself.
Acquaintances.
Acquaintances, yeah, absolutely. We were just a couple of guys that like sports. We like Buffalo sports, especially. We're gonna venture in some NFL, some NHL, and maybe some wrestling, and we'll dabble in a little bit of other things that whatever we're actually interested in, whatever is around the sports world that interests us, we'll get into that absolutely. So yes, exactly. Fantasy, betting, whatever. Even though I'm new with betting, but I did pretty good this last week in New York State legalizing.
Yeah, you're welcome. I had to explain some stuff to you.
You absolutely had to explain some things. So let's just get our first gut reaction to Bills versus Pats on Sunday at Saturday, 8:30 in Buffalo, New York. I will be there.
What a fan. Doesn't even know what his team plays.
Row 14, row 08.
That's not.
That might be my my first 2 weeks of my brand new job paycheck, but we're not going to talk about that. We're just gonna go and enjoy it. But I don't think this is much of a game, in my true and honest opinion. I think the Bills are going to handle business like they did the first time against what they did the second time against the Pats, and I think it's going to be more of a game like they had in New England last year. I think that Stephon Diggs is going to toast them. I don't think it matters what you do if it's zone or man. If you do man, then guess what? Stephon Diggs is your dad again. And then if you do zone, then Cole Beasley is just going to get the intermediate. I think Josh Allen's going to take what the Patriots give him. And that being said, he's going to do the check down, the Singletary, and he's going to find people in holes.
Yeah, you're walking through this game like it's going to be Bills domination. I don't see that. You look at the two games they played this year. Yes, they had not even a rushing domination in the first game. It's just you take one or two big plays, and that's a whole different ball game. And then game 2, you had the Bills. That last drive sealed the deal. But I think it's gonna be a lot closer than what people think. I think they're I think they're -4 right now for favorites. It might be closer than that. Bass, I think is gonna need to step up a little bit, make sure that because I think it could come down to his kick.
So you're seeing the Bills walk off with a Tyler Bass field goal?
As of right now, yes.
That's fair.
Now, what is the Bills' what is the strategic matchup you're looking for here in the Bills?
Honestly, I think Belichick thinking that the Bills are going to throw the ball continuously, but I think there's going to be a little bit of a reality check for the Bills' offense and the league. For that matter, I think the Bills are going to enter Saturday, and I think they're going to have a decent job running the ball. I think Bill Belichick's going to go into the game thinking the Bills are going to be pass heavy. That's what they've been for the past 2 years now. But I think the last couple of weeks of Devin Singletary rolled in the offensive line, getting the tangent that we want and the tangent that will be there to block for us for the rest of the year. And they've been able to play 2 games now together, and they've done pretty well. I know it's been against the Jets and the Falcons, but however, they're still football teams. I think that it will be the Bills' offensive line versus the Patriots' defensive line.
Yeah, and the Bills' offensive line has looked better through the last couple weeks here. Maybe not the best because you did have some deflections, but again, that could not be on them. But you still got to handle your men and make sure they don't get their hands up and whatnot. So what What is your hot take that you
Well,
want to start out here with?
The hot take of the week, it would have to be that Devin Singletary is going to rush for over 100 yards and score touchdowns. That is my hot take. I know it's not a crazy hot take, but Devin Singletary this season, the Bills' offense, besides Josh Allen, has only had one player to rush for over 100 yards, and that was like 2 weeks ago, and it was Devin Singletary. So I think it's going to be a Devin Singletary show with 2 touchdowns, and I think it's going to be more of a game management the offense is going to have against the Patriots, which is not what this offense is used to, being game managers and controlling the clock. I think Devin Singletary is going to have a huge game, 100-plus yards, 2 touchdowns, and then we don't have to sit through another halftime show as the people are complaining that the Bills don't have any run game. That's my hot take for the week.
All right. I don't know that you're going to see Singletary rush for 100 yards. Maybe 2 touchdowns because Allen's going to be firing the ball and they could just try to just pound the rock into the end zone. But as far 100 yards, that seems a little out there. I mean, granted, it might be on the ball. We don't know. I haven't seen what the winds will be like Saturday, but it's supposed to be really cold.
It's freezing.
Yeah.
I looked at the weather this morning. It's been 5 degrees. No winds, no snow, no rain. It's just going to be freezing. I honestly think that Devin Singletary has stepped up his game, and even though he didn't have a crazy week last week, the offense didn't have a crazy week. He still had 88 yards on the ground. Like that, and they struggled for a majority of that game, and running was not the main focus. So I would consider going into this week, Devin Singletary getting 100 yards on the ground, I think is a very good possibility of happening.
I mean, as Bills fan, I hope so. I mean, because usually if you have a 100-yard rusher, you're getting the W. But the Bills are not the only team playing this weekend. We have 5 other matchups. We have the Raiders-Bengals kicking it off Saturday. We have the Eagles-Bucks, the first game on Sunday. We have Niners-Cowboys, the 4 o'clock game on Sunday. Then the Sunday Nighter, which probably not even going to be a game, with Steelers-Chiefs. And then we have the Cardinals visiting the Rams for that rubber match. Do we want to get into the rest of the NFL here?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. What is your most anticipated game besides the Bills game?
My most anticipated game, I would have to say Eagles-Bucks. I'm excited for this matchup. I think the Eagles-Bucks will be my most anticipated game. I think the Eagles have absolutely nothing to lose, and Tom Brady's out some weapons. Antonio Brown is still jogging off the field. Was it Godwin's out for the year, right? Godwin?
For his ACL.
And Godwin's out for the year, and they're down to running back. Fournette's not going to be there.
Fournette, I think he might come back to the playoffs.
He might. Oh, okay.
He might.
I still have the Bucks taking the win, but I think the Eagles can put a good show on, and I'm excited to see Jalen Hurts in some extra couple weeks in the postseason. I think it'll only be 1 week, but I'm excited to see what he can do with the weapons that he has. I just don't think that the Eagles have the defense to stop Tom, but I think it will be exciting to see Jalen Hurts in a wild card game. I think he's a young, up-and-coming superstar in the league, and I think this is just going to be a first of many for him. And not to mention, he's in a horrible division, so it's almost promised a playoff spot almost every single year of his career.
I like where your head's at with the NFC, but we're gonna go out west. I think it's got to be the other rubber match. You gotta look at the Cardinals Rams. I mean, both these games for those two, they split like the Bills Patriots. Their last game was close, although it should have been closer. Some bad missed opportunities by the Cardinals last game, and this time again it'll be on Monday night, prime time. Can't miss TV. So, that being said,
That was a close second. Close second for me. Close second.
That being said, let's get into the games. I have the Cincinnati Bengals taking the win at home for their first win in both our lives, in the playoffs, I should say,
Yeah.
with a 31-team win.
I have the upset alert. Raiders 35-28 against the Bengals. Mostly just because playoff experience. Bengals don't have it. And Raiders have more, not much more, but they have a little more experience. And I'm having the Raiders take home the upset. I haven't seen the spread, but I'm sure it's an upset.
I was looking. I think it's like 3.5 for the Bengals, if I remember correctly. It wasn't much, but anyways, now we get into the game. We both have said this is what we took most of our time with so far. Bills, Patriots. Who do you have?
I have the Bills kicking the Patriots out of town, 42-24. Basically, just two double middle fingers to the Patriots fans to walk out. Basically, kick them out. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, kind of thing. Hard division.
Yeah, I don't. I don't. I had it 34-24, but the more that the temperature comes down, the more I feel like it's going to be harder to move the ball, and it just keeps on coming down. And I originally had it 34-24. That's not the case anymore. I'm going to have 24-21. Buffalo wins on a Bass walk-off. Don't let me down this week, Bills. Come on. We need this. Okay,
No, we can
Sunday.
handle it. We can handle it.
Sunday, Philly visiting Tampa. I have Tampa 24-7. This game's not even going to be close. I think Brady it's playoff time.
Yeah, I have the Bucks winning 20-24, closer than you have it. I think it's gonna Bucks take a huge lead, and then there's gonna be some garbage time. The next thing you know, you realize, oh, the Eagles back in this game, and then Tom's just gonna end it. I think that's exactly what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Okay. Now here's one that we're different on. I'll let you take the floor first. Explain why you have the team you have.
I have the 49ers versus the Cowboys, and so I have the Niners winning 17-14. It's a very low-scoring game, especially for how the Cowboys' offense has been this year. But it's the Cowboys, and Cowboys stink in the playoffs. And I think the Niners are hitting their stride at the right time. And it was very good to see that they were able to bounce back after Jimmy G came back. And they just kind of continued where they were. And so I have another upset here with the 49ers or the Cowboys.
Yeah, I understand you're one of the Cowboy haters, but I can't. I got to pick the Cowboys here. Yes, it's been a great run for Fred. Yes, I'm all over that defense as I was at the beginning of the year. But Dak, Zeke, Tony Pollard, and the whole wide receiver core there. I have to just ride them for now. I believe Cowboys are going to pick up the dub with a close 20-14 win. I think Zerline misses an extra point like he has screwed me in the past. So you're welcome, Cowboys fans. But and then the game that's not really a game. I'm just going to say it. KC blows them out. Not even close.
Oh, easily. No, not even close. It's going to be a boring game to watch. I'm happy they picked, the primetime game at Sunday to watch so I can go to bed early and not have to sit up and watch this dumpster fire of a Steelers team make the playoffs. That being said, I'm much happier. They made the playoffs over the Ravens. I think Lamar could have done some damage in the playoffs this year. Much better than the Colts making it, because I don't want the Colts in the playoffs. They scare the heck out of me. So if this is what we have to get, that's what we have to get.
Yeah.
And so I have the Chiefs winning 48-10.
I have a 38-3. Ben doesn't get that touchdown. And there are some Steelers fans, I should say, that are even saying that the only way that the Steelers win this game is by ref ball. So never count them out. Ref ball is real. So
Oh, it absolutely is.
just keep an eye out for it. And then the last game on the docket, Cardinals, Rams, Monday Nighter.
So I'm actually surprised by your prediction of the game, but we're both looking similar. I have 35-31 Rams, and then I'll just let you explain what you have and your thoughts behind it, because this is surprising me. It's the first time I've seen your predictions.
Yeah, I know why you're saying you surprised me, because I have a Cardinals homer too with the Bills, but the Rams got it done last time. Again, this time it's on Monday night again. The Rams have kind of put it together, even though the Niners have their number. That being said, Cliff Kingsbury has absolutely choked in the second half of the year. The Cardinals should be absolutely doing better than what they have, and they've dropped the ball time and time again. They will do it again here this week. I have the Rams 27-24. Moving on to the division round, I have all the division winners moving on, because I don't see a wildcard team beating up.
Something that I thought of today, actually on my way to work, that the Bills win on Saturday, and most likely take on the Chiefs. Most likely take on the Chiefs. They beat the Chiefs, and then what? They have a walk into the Super Bowl, right? I think that the hardest games for the Bills to face are the first two. I think
You
after
don't think
that,
Tennessee's going to be a tough game?
No. They were inches away from beating them the last time, and that was
inches away from a first down.
Okay, well, yes, all right, inches away from getting the first down to then win the game. That was with a completely healthy early in the season Derrick Henry. We don't know what the Derrick Henry are going to get in 2 weeks. No idea. They're going to run him like he's 100%, but is he 100%? And that's one game, and you figure he faces a defense. Oh man, there isn't even a good defense to be facing. So honestly, the only good defense that any team's going to be facing in the AFC side is the Bills. Pats number 2, but it's not even that close. So the other side of the docket is so much easier to make the Super Bowl than it is on our side.
I don't know. That KC defense has looked a lot better.
KC defenses look better than where they were last in the league, yes, but it has looked better. You are right, but I think the Bills win Saturday. They go take on the Chiefs. I think it's not as of a blowout as it was last time in Arrowhead, but I think it's another win by the Bills, and they trot into the Super Bowl. That's another take for me on the day. But I don't know. Anything else NFL wise you want to talk about?
No, I think that's it for NFL. Now to the other part of Buffalo. Yeah, the Sabres. So I'll let you talk, because you're the bigger Sabres fan, because we know.
Yeah, so news today. Both, I can't say both because I can't remember the person. Alex Tuck is off the COVID list. He should be playing tonight. Sabres pull up and activate Jack Quinn from Rochester. So he'll be making his debut tonight. I'm sure Ed Burson and Pipe is going to be UPL. And one thing that I can say confidently, when he's in the net for the Sabres, they always have a chance to win. This kid has had shots. I could say kid because I'm older than him, actually. This kid has had 40-plus shots on him almost every single night he's in net. And his goals against average is 2.3. That's ridiculous numbers. His save percentage is over 930. So he can keep the Sabres in the game. And I was one at the beginning of the year that was happy to see UPL not in Buffalo and down in Rochester, because he looked horrible in the preseason, and he looked horrible in Rochester last year. But he surprised me, and I'm happy that he surprised me, because the amount of young stars this team has is ridiculous. JJ Petrika, and then you have the other guy that they got from Vegas. Why can't I pull his name right now? With Alex Tuck. Alex Tuck isn't that old either. Jack Quinn, Dylan Cousins, who has been out with COVID since they returned. They have all these players. Casey Fitzgerald. He came up and made his debut a couple weeks ago, against Pittsburgh, which was a surprising win. They're a nasty little team that can definitely stay in games. I'll be very interested to see how the game goes tonight against the Lightning. I don't think they're going to be able to win this game because it's the Lightning and they have probably one of the best goalies in the league. And they have Steven Stamkos and plenty of depth. Depth that is much more mature than the Sabres is. But I honestly think that Sabres are in a good position for the future. And I'm not talking playoffs next year, but I'm talking about playoffs year after. But they're fighting for it next year for sure. There's just too much good young players that it has to work out. It just has to. There's too much young good players, and that asshole guy Jack Eichel, he's arriving in Vegas this week. Hopefully he's able to play when Buffalo goes to Vegas, so I can see him get fucking checked in the boards and put his mouth against the glass that he deserves.
It took 20 minutes, but the first swear word, well, you said asshole first. It took 21 minutes, but you finally dropped the first F-bomb. I forgot to tell you that I want to nix that for.
All right. First day on the job.
Yeah, we're learning. But yeah, you talked about Jack Eichel. You talked about the Alex Tuck trade, but I think the Eichel situation is just a whole compound of how the Sabres organization has been since 2011. I think a lot of fans, me included, because this has absolutely happened to me, have lost their heart for this team. I still like the Sabres. The Sabres are still my favorite hockey team. But the passion isn't there. Like, your
passion's not there. Your passion's not there, though, right? Because the team's passion's there.
Yeah, I'm talking about, like, the fans. I'm not coming at the team. Okay. Like, you and some others have come at me for saying that, oh, you're not a true fan. Like, and I'm still here, but at the same time, it's not as to the extent it was. This organization has bled to the point where you're not seeing sellout crowds anymore in the so-called hockey town.
Yeah, that's very, very, very fair. I will argue that all ticket sales in the whole NHL is down. So it's not just Buffalo, but it's bad in Buffalo. Fans don't show up. But I will say, after the firing of Ralph Krueger last year, there has been a little change in the culture and the intensity the team brings is under Don Granato. Even though the Ralph Krueger got fired during that, 16-game losing streak, he got fired, game 9. And so there's still 7 games afterwards that they lost. But the team still played so much better under Don Granato. They still lost 7 more games, but played so much better. But you're right. The fans aren't there, but the fans at the same time they're very passionate on their Sabres and their Bills. And this is their way of showing how passionate they are. They are, in better words, boycotting the team based on lack of production. And people weren't happy with the way that the Eichel thing happened, and I can understand that too. I mean, we lost a generational talent. I can agree that's a rough thing to happen for an organization. But he wasn't who we wanted, and I think that's what we all have to come down to. That we didn't want Eichel. Eichel was second choice. We wanted McDavid, and we could just put it plain and simple. That's who we wanted. That's not what we got. Instead, we got this guy who cried to mommy and daddy when he didn't get what he wanted. So he got the GM fired, and that pushed us back a couple of years. So now that baby's somewhere else, and we have Kevin Adams and Don Granato, who is going to take the endless amount of young talent this organization has into the bright future of next season. So that's
a lot of stuff coming for Jack Eichel there. I was not expecting that. That should be your hot take. Forget the Devin Singletary stuff.
Jack Eichel, he was one to where he turned to his mom and said, "Mom, can I have this thing?" No. So he turns to his dad, "Can I have this thing?" And the dad gave it to him.
What just fell? Cause you like?
Oh, it was my hands. I put my hands on my table. So yeah, I have to. But no, he's a baby. He's honestly a baby, and he wasn't able to grow as an individual because he was put into a leadership role, and I think he put himself into that leadership role. And I think the GM and the Pagulas put him in that leadership role because they didn't want to make him mad. Because clearly, look at him mad. He's on a whole new team now. And it really stinks about how it all happened. But ultimately, I think it puts the Sabres in a better position not to have that toxicness in the locker room, which he brought every night.
Yeah, but even you said it wasn't. This wasn't all on Jack. Even you admitted,
Oh,
yeah, Jack was a
yeah.
consolation prize. He wasn't. He wasn't number one. He was number two, and that we didn't want him. He did the best he could with us, and even and to go further than that, look at Ryan O'Reilly. Ryan O'Reilly was a guy who said, "Yeah, I've lost my heart for this game because of the Sabres."
Yeah.
The Sabres.
And he also has like now 5 points on the season. Tage Thompson has double that. But okay, continue.
Yeah, what? Yeah, but who has the ring and who doesn't?
You're very true. Very true. He has MVP too. You're right. You're right. And I am upset that the way the organization was run during that time, because clearly a 20-something-year-old hockey player should not have been running the organization, and that what was going on at the time. And the Pagulas allowed Jack Eichel to run the team, and unfortunately, I don't know how. When you're talking about the Pagulas, you're talking about two different people. You're talking about the Pagulas that own the Bills, and you talk about the Pagulas that own the Sabres. If you weren't a sports fan, you wouldn't know that the ownership of the teams are the exact same. It's just how different it is. And I think it took up until the Kevin Adams signing and hiring for them to finally get their Bean hired in Buffalo for the Bills, Brandon Bean. I think Kevin Adams being the GM is equivalent to the Brandon Bean GM in for the Bills. So right now I think it took Pagulas one shot to get Brandon Bean, but this is their second, third shot getting Kevin Adams. So I think now that they have the right GM, I think everything's going to go the way they want to, and rightfully so. You don't see NFL teams, for example. You have a firing in Miami. What are they going to do with the star quarterback? Is Tua going to stay there with the new regime? Who knows? That doesn't happen in hockey that much, but it did with Jack Eichel. New head coach, new regime. Guess what? Bye, Jack. So I mean, it's different for the sport, but it's not different in sports in general. And I think it was a little bit hard for the NHL world to realize that was kind of what was happening. That's an old regime, and there's a new culture, and so the organization is going in a different direction, in a good direction, for that matter.
That's something I forget that too, but I didn't want to talk about. But then I'm going to go back to the NHL for a second. Brian Flores fired. We're both we've continually said this. We're both Bills fans.
Yep.
How do you feel about Brian Flores being fired?
As a Bills fan, that's kind of great. In a way, it depends on what they do. If they go get Watson or Rodgers or Russell Wilson, then I'm going to have some issues with it. But as of right now, they were building something legitimate down there.
Yeah,
it took them some time and some scheming with Tua, but the fact they're actually able to turn around and win, what they win, 8 straight games?
7. But if they lost to the Titans last week, they went 9-8.
Okay, so they did amazing the second half of the year. It's too bad for the organization as itself that they weren't able to start that at the beginning of the year. Because if they're able to start that at the beginning of the year, we're talking about a Dolphins team who was entering the playoffs, probably one of the hottest teams in the league. Defense wise, I mean, Tua still he won 2 straight games. He didn't throw combined over 350 yards. So I mean, offense you're limited with Tua, but I think everything else on the team, besides maybe a decent second receiver and maybe a little bit better O line, I think you're looking good for a Dolphin. I think that's probably the most glamorous head coaching position, and I hope it's not Dayball or our defensive coordinator, Leslie
Frazier.
Frazier. Yeah, I'm hoping that they stay away from that. But I think if we're talking about coaching right now, I don't know if you have anything to say about the Dolphins, but I want to chime in about the interim head coach for the Raiders. Horrible position he was put in. With everything that organizations went through this year, and the fact that he was able to rally them together to get into the playoffs, amazing. Okay, you can pick up where I left off and with Miami and maybe touch base somewhere else.
Yeah. So I'm gonna Miami and then go to Bisaccia. Miami. Bills fan standpoint, I love that he's fired. Although the Bills just absolutely creamed him, but every time they played him, it seemed like.
Yeah.
An NFL standpoint,
owns them. Josh Allen owns them.
Yeah. An NFL standpoint, what the hell is Miami doing? It makes no sense. I believed in that defense from the start of the year. I wrote an article last year that Miami was a team to be scared of this coming year. A little off base for me because I was kind of wrong. Miami went 1-7 in their first 8 games, but
they turned it around though.
Yeah, when you have a 4-2 record against Bill Belichick, that's nothing to just. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're fine. That's the guy who's owned this division for 20 years. And you're just going to shove it away? Just like, yeah, that's nothing here. Nothing there. We'll just push it to the side. And there's something up. And I know the owner wanted Deshaun Watson, but if you can build something with Tua, why trade for Deshaun Watson? Just use the draft picks that you would have used on Deshaun Watson for your team. Have Brian Flores, who's a great coach, who has proved it the last 2 years, and build something that way. Tua might not be as good as Deshaun, but that defense was still something. And Tua's building. I want to make the comparison of Mahomes and Allen with Watson and Tua because that's kind of true here. I'm the dumb one that said Allen will be better than Mahomes, but right now, Mahomes is better than Allen. Watson is better than Tua, but Tua's having that trajectory, not as big as Allen, but he's having that trajectory up. So, a mind-boggling move, and I don't think anyone understands why Flores got dumped. And then we have Bisaccia. I think Rich Bisaccia should get some looks for Coach of the Year. Mike Vrabel is probably the Coach of the Year because of what he did with the Titans, but Rich Bisaccia should be number 2. My vote, if I would.
I'm sorry, continue.
My vote, if I had it one for Coach of the Year, would go to Rich Bisaccia. All the distractions and stuff that they had, and he turned that team around, and they're going to the playoffs right now. A lot of coaches would have just folded. Rich Bisaccia sat at 6-7 and turned this team around, made them won their last 4 games. Absolutely should be Coach of the Year this year. But with the road, it's probably not going to go to him. I think it's going to end up going to Vrabel.
And I agree that it shouldn't be who I'm going to say it is, but I know a lot of people are going to go Bill Belichick. And, that annoys me so much. That he's going to win. But I agree. I mean, there's no expectations in LA, Las Vegas. Jeez, Las Vegas. No expectations. They if the team folded and stopped, no one would have thought anything different. No one would have batted an eye. How can you be successful after what they've gone through this season? But yet they did. So that's interesting. I didn't think about him winning Coach of the Year, and I would support that absolutely. He won't get the votes or the looks at it, but I think he can, and I think he could. I think he should. That'd be a dark horse Coach of the Year candidate, and I think that's not half bad of a take. I like that. That's a good one. There's a couple other ones too.
Yeah. Okay, now going back to the NHL, I've heard a lot of stuff on the new deal that they signed with ESPN, TNT, Turner Sports, whatever you want to call it. I want to get your take on what you think about it because I've heard a lot of people do not like this deal, and I'm one that's like, this deal's fine. It's been pretty much the same that they had with NBC.
It's the same, but it's not. I shouldn't have to pay extra money to watch the Buffalo Sabres play a hockey game. It's a home market. I should be able to watch it on my TV for free. Well, not free. I have to pay Spectrum over $100 for cable. But then what? I have to pay $60 a year for ESPN too. On top of that, like no, I was annoyed the first day it was on ESPN, and my poor grandfather. My grandfather can't watch the games because he doesn't know how to work ESPN. He barely got through a year of fantasy football after calls every single night telling me how to switch his players. So the fact that my grandfather can't watch the hockey games is ridiculous. It's stupid. I don't like it. The way it was before, it was fine. The commentators are horrible. There's not a single good commentator besides the MSG team in the Buffalo Sabres team. They all stink. They have nothing good to say about Buffalo, which I know it's hard to say anything good about Buffalo, but oh my god. And they're so predictable. The first game they were on ESPN, they won. It was a Saturday game. Saturday matinee game. They won. They went down the first period. They were down, and the commentators at halftime were during the intermission were like, "Oh, this Sabres team, they're bad. They don't play any good." They come out the next intermission, they're up huge, probably like 3-1, and they're talking about how great the Sabres team is. It's like, dude, 20 minutes ago you're talking about how bad this organization is, and now you're talking about how good they are. Like, what are you doing? It same thing with NBC last year. All of them. NHL Network does it. They all do it. It's annoying. It's like, stick to your course. If you just talk crap about a team, well, guess what? Eat that. I don't want to hear you complimenting about how the team's doing good now. No, you just said that the Sabres suck. I don't want you coming back about how, oh, Sabres have such a great future. No, shut up. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. And their commentary team sucks. And if I had the choice between listening to them or Rick Jeanneret for the rest of my life, guess what? I'm going to pick Rick Jeanneret because he's a Hall of Famer, probably best commentator of all time, any sport. It doesn't matter. But that won't happen. Rest his soul. He's going to be retiring this year and stinks. We just got to move on.
Yeah, I've watched some of the ESPN games. Granted, it's been on mute because I'm either watching something else or playing Xbox. But when I first saw this, I was like, okay, I have ESPN Plus. This doesn't bother me, and that's probably what I was like blind to because like I had it, I'm already paying for it. It's just more for me. And one of the things I like with ESPN Plus is this is not an ad for ESPN Plus. By the way. This is me talking about the NHL deal. Is I get all the other games that are out of market. So I can watch TJ Oshie because you know how big a fan I am of TJ Oshie. We can watch Ryan O'Reilly from St. Louis, and well, he's been doing trash this year, but prior years he was doing good. Like I was like, okay, it's great. Why is I understand the whole game should not be on just on ESPN Plus. That is one part I cannot get on board with. There's supposed to be one on HBO Max. It's just like, why? HBO Max,
and then
are they trying to become a sports network too, or what's up to that?
I think they're just in it for the money. But another thing that's annoying, so I can only watch games that are because I'm Buffalo. I'm in Buffalo, so I can only watch the games that are available on ESPN. Because technically I'm in market, I can't watch a game if it's on MSG. It won't let me. So I have to then go to Spectrum because I was like, oh, awesome. At ESPN now, I can get rid of my $100 Spectrum cable a month because I don't need that. That's why I pay so much just to watch the Sabres. And so I was like, oh, I can get rid of that. Perfect. No, I can't get rid of that because I can only watch the games that are ESPN exclusive, which is also dumb. I understand with rights and whatnot. MSG has the rights to the Sabres game. Yeah, I get that. I understand. But, man, that's annoying. Very annoying.
That's not ESPN. That's the NHL. It's MLB because MLB does it too. It's if you're in that market, you cannot watch the national broadcast of the game. It's just like the MLB.TV and I think NHL.tv, which is now incorporated with ESPN Plus. So again, you gotta argue with the league on that one.
Yeah. Well, there's plenty of things that can argue with the league. Just like how they admitted they were wrong on an offsides that took away Sabres' goal and they ended up losing. Maybe just, call your games right, Maybe don't be such crappy refs. I don't know. Do your job. I don't know. Watch the replay after they challenge it. I don't know. Maybe look at it. I don't know. Open your eyes. Don't be blind. But I think it's enough on NHL because I could go on and on about the NHL and about how crappy they are and how all sports leagues hate Buffalo sports. But we should go on to something a little bit different, I guess.
Breaking news. Joe Judge out as Giants head coach after 2 seasons.
Ooh, breaking news, but not surprising. Yeah, that guy stinks, honestly. The whole organization stinks. That's a horrible organization. And their GM retiring? Yeah, okay. It's either you're going to retire or your ass is out. I mean, that's it. It was down to that, and like, okay, well, I'll go out my terms because he was going to get fired. And Joe Judge being fired is fine, and now we just gotta put ink to paper on the Saquon Barkley to Buffalo next year, which I guess will be a future episode in the offseason about some crazy trades that I want to happen, which isn't that crazy, but
we can talk about that later. But for now, Joe Judge absolutely should have been fired after Week 18. He gave up. A year after saying, "Yeah, we'll never do what the Eagles did. We're going to play out every down," and then a QB sneak on 39 from your own
QB sneak
4.
on 3rd down. I saw a stat. The Giants quarterback, Jake Fromm, former Buffalo quarterback, threw a touchdown Sunday to a wide receiver. It was the first touchdown caught by a wide receiver since October 24th. How is that possible? That is insane. That is 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Of football.
And
how do you not do that?
You have guys, they signed Kenny Galladay to a $70 million deal. Didn't catch a single touchdown this year. And what's better is that they tweeted out asking fans how many touchdowns is Kenny Galladay going to catch this year, and him to catch none was just amazing.
Well, who would have thought they would have been this bad? We knew they were going to be bad, but like dumpster fire bad. I mean, there's 2 dumpsters named Jets and Giants, and they're both in New Jersey, sitting right next to each other
in the same stadium.
So that's us in the same stadium, right out the door.
Stadium, by the way.
Very nice stadium. However, I don't know if you heard about the news of New York City suing the NFL for calling the New York Jets, New York Giants, New York teams, because that is false. They're suing. I don't have the number exactly, but good for them. We don't want those teams represented in New York. The only New York football team is the Buffalo Bills. By the way, the only good team that's New York. So good for them. Get rid of those people. Make them New Jersey. Who cares? I don't care. Whatever. Trash can 1, trash can 2, doesn't matter. Call them what you want to. They're a horrible organization. Both of them.
I need to clip this and send it to Chase. He's gonna love this. But I think we should move on. This is a part you wanted to talk about with the WWE. I'll let you bring up the table.
I heard today. I actually just heard something that the WWE is allowing a backdoor entry into the Royal Rumble. Which, if you don't know what a backdoor entry is, someone who is currently signed. Oh, Forbidden Door. Yes. Who was already signed in a different wrestling company to the men's Royal Rumble. We already know that Mickie James is going to be part of the women's, which is crazy because she's currently the Impact Women's Champion right now. So the fact that she is going to be participating in the Women's Royal Rumble this month in a few weekends is incredible. So I don't know I don't know if you have any dream returns that you want to do. I mean, as of right now, knowing this information, almost anyone can return, but we know who it won't be. Unfortunately, the only one we want to return, it won't be him. But one person that I heard was Moose from TNA, not TNA, Impact. That would be interesting, one for sure. And he's currently the Impact. I heard RVD could be coming back to do surprise entrance in the Royal Rumble. He's currently contracted by WWE though, so last I knew, I don't know if it's still currently, but over the summer he was. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Bray Wyatt return, the Fiend. We haven't seen him in a while. Um, and then my first thought was when I heard that the surprise entrant from another company, I was like, Braun Strowman. Could they make Braun Strowman? Would they have Braun Strowman come back? I don't know for sure, but would be something I'd be interested in. Absolutely. Talking about a pop, that'd be crazy. Women's side, Paige. Heard Paige could be coming back to do a surprise entrance. That would be interesting. I would love to see. It's too bad that Beth Phoenix is going to be in a match, mixed tag team, because I would like to see her.
She can
in
still
the
come back.
Rumble.
You've seen him do 2 matches in one day before.
That's true. That's true. I would like that return. I could honestly care less the Bellatons are coming back. That doesn't do anything for me. But a surprise return entrance for me. I would like to see RVD. He was always one of my favorites, and then The Rock. I think The Rock's gonna come back, win the Rumble, take on uh, take on Roman at WrestleMania. I think that's the play for WWE. I don't like it, but that's what I have.
It could be now that since they gave the belt to Lesnar, but I don't see it. I thought they were going to wait till they went to LA because this year they're going to be in Dallas, Texas. Holy crap!
Yep.
So,
But next year isn't promised though, and I think WWE should take that. Next year's unpromised, just because. I mean, who are they gonna release next? I mean, at this point, is the McMahon's gonna own the company by next year? I mean, I've heard they're getting rid of assets to sell. So like, if they want that dream match, I'm assuming Mr. McMahon's gonna want that money in his pocket. And the only way for sure for him to get that money in his pocket is to do that in the AT&T Stadium in Dallas this year for WrestleMania.
here comes the speculation already starting.
Yeah.
But I just want to watch the Rumble. I don't want to worry about returns yet. We're still 2 weeks out.
That's fair. There's a couple things that could happen for sure. Yeah, there's speculation now. It's just gonna lead to more speculation and more things later. Absolutely. And Raw is actually making it watchable currently. You can go and watch Raw last couple weeks, which is a new thing. I don't know if they're like New Year's resolution. We're gonna make Raw watchable because so far in 2022, it's been pretty good. So good for WWE for keeping it up.
That could be. I can see that because that was the one I was on until Brock won the title at day one. So that could very well happen again because WWE does want it. Well, they said 3 times, but at this point, they're probably going to settle for 2.
Are they going to put the titles together? Are they going to put the Universal and WWE championships together?
I don't see it. That won't happen until they get rid of the brand split. And if they do, Fox and USA are not going to be happy.
So they're going to fight at WrestleMania then just for no titles, though? Is that what we're thinking is going to happen? Or is this going to be
Roman's going to cost
chamber thing?
Right here. Roman is going to cost Brock the title.
Oh, interesting.
I put it on there. I thought it must not have seen it. But
so Bobby's going to so what he's saying is Bobby's going to win at the Royal Rumble? Bobby's going to have the championship?
There could be another. Well, isn't there another pay-per-view for that in Mania?
Elimination Chamber, I believe. At least that's what it normally is.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I guess I could see him taking it into Elimination Chamber. I just know that Brock Lesnar's contract is based on matches. I don't know how many matches he has left on his contract. So we know for sure he has the one at Royal Rumble. And do they have enough to get him to WrestleMania and SummerSlam? I'm assuming they're going to want to use it for SummerSlam. They need something big, and big as Brock Lesnar. So I don't know if they would do another match at Elimination Chamber or if they get the belt to Bobby, which I would like. I like Bobby Lashley, and then Bobby wins feud with Big E. Okay.
I mean, why? And have them headline, like they had the women do it last year. Have the two African Americans do it and have them set the bar again. I could very well see that.
Yeah, especially if you have they're splitting the nights again. So
yeah, 1 and 2.
Easily could have two main events, and that could easily be one of them. No problem. What's your thought of Charlotte Flair being in the Royal Rumble? That's interesting.
She's still the champion, right?
Yeah, or was it Becky? I know one of the two of them are in there, is in the Royal Rumble, which is interesting. I'm sure Who's the Wolf can verify this for sure, but I know one of the two of them are in the Royal Rumble, but I don't know which one. But that's interesting to me. So, are they gonna have the winner?
Brock did it a couple years ago, so it's not uncommon. The only other time I can remember the champion was in it was Roman when he defended it against all 30.
Yeah, which
I'm against this. This makes no sense.
I do too. Yeah,
if you're the champion, the champion, and because the women's don't have the world titles, but they're the women's, they're the head of the women's, so they are technically their world titles. They should not be in there because they should not be able to cross brand, if that makes sense. Charlotte is in it. Becky is defending against Doudrop, which I did see that.
That's
the thing.
So very interesting to have Charlotte in the match. But I also don't know if that's just because they don't have the women. I mean, they've released so much talent in that. Let's throw Charlotte in because we don't really have Charlotte doing anything on SmackDown anyway. So let's just put her in, and it's another body. And Charlotte's a great wrestler. She's probably one of the best women wrestlers ever. So the fact that they have her, it will just make that match just so much better. And I have been really impressed with women Royal Rumble since they've started. They've all been good. No complaints on that side.
Yeah, and we are 18 days away from that happening. But for now, there's still a lot more time left to build for both Royal Rumbles. As time will tell. I mean, Sasha was in it, probably going to be in it. Now she's out for 4 to 8 weeks. But yeah. All right, Kevin. Let's wrap this up. Is there anything you want to? Any final takes you want?
No more final takes, but so it's going to look a little different coming up a couple weeks. My co-host, Zach McAdoo, is not going to be at the next two, right?
Well, it depends on how late you want to record.
On Tuesday?
Well, any day, really. Well, we probably have to wait until I get down there.
Okay, yeah. We'll figure it out. But at some point, there'd be a substitute special guest host to talk about some sports. And we'll get this ball rolling and hopefully make this a weekly thing. And hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. From the original M to the... I'm not saying that. Forget it. We're not going to go with that ending, folks. It's been a time. We'll say that. Good night.
Good night.